Anubis, the lord of the dead in Egyptian mythology, possesses one of the most incredible, mysterious, and dark tales of the ancient world. Today we'll take a look at this god's complete story. Egyptian beliefs about death. To truly understand Anubis, we must look into the beliefs of the ancient Egyptians regarding death and the afterlife. For them, death was not an end, but a transition to another realm. This transition, however, was dangerous, and the soul required an expert guide to navigate it. That's where Anubis stepped in and took the responsibility to guide the souls and make sure justice was served in the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed in the immortality of the soul and the existence of an afterlife where these souls resided in a place called the Field of Reeds. According to ancient Egyptian paintings and engravings, the Field of Reeds was a beautiful place with rich agriculture, where the souls of the dead walked along the banks of the Nile, slept under shady trees, and reaped the rewards of their lives on earth. To put it simply, full of peace. However, before the souls could enter the Field of Reeds, they had to pass through the afterlife. The judgment was based on weighing the heart of the deceased against the feather of truth on a scale. The heart represented the deeds of the person during their lifetime, and the feather represented the concept of ma'at, truth, justice, and harmony. In the ancient Egyptian mythology, if the heart of the deceased was lighter than the feather of truth, it meant that the person had lived a life that was just and worthy. In this case, Anubis and his council of judges would lead the deceased to Osiris, the god of the afterlife, who would welcome them into the Field of Reeds, an eternal paradise. It was believed that the deceased would be reunited with their loved ones, live a happy and peaceful life, and enjoy all the pleasures they had enjoyed during their lifetime. However, if the heart was heavier than the feather, it was believed that the person had lived a life full of evil and wrongdoings. In this case, the soul was considered impure and unworthy of entering the Field of Reeds. The deity that was believed to consume such a soul was a female demon named Ammit. Ammit was depicted as having the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. It was believed that Ammit would devour the heart of the impure soul, and the soul would be condemned to eternal suffering and oblivion. Now, back to Anubis. Origins. There are different stories about his origins, but one version suggests that he was the son of Nephthys, the goddess of darkness, and Osiris, the god of fertility and the afterlife, while another suggests that he was the son of Nephthys and Seth, who was the god of darkness, storms, and destruction. Anubis was also said to be Ra's son in some texts. A popular version suggests that Isis, Osiris's wife, discovered an abandoned child named Anubis, whom his mother, Nephthys, left while Isis was searching for her husband's body. She adopted him, and he became her loyal protector. Anubis was then given the role of mummifying Osiris's body, and that's how he introduced a new and effective mummification technique that was used as a model for future practices. According to Egyptian legend, Set, an evil god, attacked Osiris' body during his funeral. Anubis stopped Set by burning him with a hot iron and wearing his skin as a warning to others. As a result, Egyptian priests started wearing leopard skins to commemorate Anubis's victory over Set. Anubis and Set had multiple battles even after this incident, as Set wanted to steal Osiris's body. Set even transformed into Anubis in other forms, but Anubis consistently caught and punished him. In the end, Anubis killed Set and his army, which left the 18th nome in ancient Egypt stained with blood. Roles. Anubis was believed to be a prominent deity worshipped as the god of mummification, the protector of tombs and cemeteries, the guide of souls in the afterlife, the ruler of the underworld, and the guardian of the scales of justice. The role he played in the immortality of ancient Egyptian souls was huge on its own. No wonder why at one point he was the most powerful and popular god in the Egyptian pantheon. However, with the rise of Osiris, the god of the afterlife and rebirth, Anubis's role evolved. He became the god of embalming and psychopomp, guiding the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. He was responsible for guiding souls to the afterlife. He would take care of the souls and lead them to the place known as the Hall of Truth. There, their heart would be weighed on a golden scale to see if they lived a good life. Anubis did not punish or torment the souls, but instead ensured that they received justice, preservation, and respect, even after death. That's not all. Anubis was also associated with necromancy, a practice that involved communicating with the spirits of the dead. In fact, in the post-Late Period era, demonic spells would invoke Anubis as an intermediary to fetch spirits or gods from the underworld. During the Old Kingdom, Anubis underwent a profound transformation with the discovery of mummification. The ancient Egyptians believed that the defilement of someone's dead body was considered a fate worse than death. If the body was destroyed, the soul was denied entry into the afterlife, never to enter the field of reeds. To prevent this, the ancient Egyptians made offerings to Anubis. As the protector of departed souls and the guardian of cemeteries, Anubis played a major role in assuring that the deceased made it safely to the afterlife. Anubis was also known as the god of funerary rites. He would oversee the entire process of embalming and mummification, confirming that the deceased would be preserved properly for the afterlife. Anubis was often assisted by his daughter, Khebeshe, during the mummification process. The ancient Egyptians believed that Anubis would sniff the bodies before mummifying them, and therefore, they would cover the bodies with herbs and plants. Anubis also was the one who performed the opening of the mouth ceremony, which was believed to allow the deceased to talk and eat in the afterlife. Apart from his role in the mummification process, Anubis was also responsible for protecting the dead. Prayers to the god have been found carved into tombs, indicating that many believed that Anubis would continue to protect the dead even after the transition of power to Osiris. The Jackal God. As we said, in the land of the pharaohs, the ancient Egyptians held a deep respect for their dead, but their resting place was not always peaceful. The scavengers of the desert, including jackals and dogs, would often dig up freshly buried corpses and tear at their flesh, causing great distress to the Egyptians since they believed that if the dead body was harmed, the afterlife of the deceased would be affected as well. To protect the dead from these scavengers, the Egyptians built the first tombs, but they didn't stop there. They also began to worship Anubis, who was usually depicted as a man with the head of a jackal and often wore a red ribbon while wielding a flail. The role of the god of the dead has been directly linked to his depiction as a jackal or jackal-headed man. The Egyptians may have praised the jackal's behavior for making it seem compassionate. Another speculation is that Anubis worship may have developed to exercise supernatural control over jackals. If Anubis was worshipped correctly, the belief was that the jackals would not disturb the revered dead. Interestingly, recent genetic research suggests that the animal the ancient Egyptians depicted as a jackal is not a jackal at all, but an ancient wolf. Nonetheless, Anubis was usually thought of as a jackal, although he was sometimes depicted as a man, such as in the cenotaph temple of Ramesses II at Abydos. Speaking of his appearance, the black fur of Anubis was closely related to the rituals of death and resurrection and associated with the fertility of the black soil of the Nile. His symbols. In ancient Egyptian art, Anubis is often shown holding two significant objects. The first is the was scepter, which is a long staff with a forked base and an animal head at the top, usually that of a canine. This scepter is supposed to represent Anubis's power and authority as the protector of the dead. The second object is the ankh, which is a powerful symbol that resembles a cross with a loop at the top. It represents eternal life and is often referred to as the key of life or the key of the Nile. When Anubis holds the ankh in the artistic representation, it represents his essential role in guiding the souls of the deceased to eternal life. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our exclusive playlists and other content. See you soon!